everybody, welcome to Stamping with Melva. I'm Melva Peters and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from British Columbia, Canada. And you can find me online at stampingwithmelva.com. Saturday. Now, normally on Saturdays I go live about 11 a.m. Pacific, but today I had my team meeting, so I'm a little later than normal. So hopefully people are going to find me and jump on. And just when you do, make sure you tell me where you're jumping on from and yeah, your name. If you usually I can see your name, but if you're coming in through Facebook, make sure you take the time to give StreamYard permission. So you go to streamyard.com/Facebook and give StreamYard permission to access Facebook so that I can see your name. I use an application called StreamYard for doing my lives. And if you come in through Facebook, you have to do that so that I can actually see in the comments who's commenting. Otherwise, I just see Facebook user, and that's no fun. All right, so today I thought I would make a thank you card featuring the Regency Park suite from the new mini catalog. I just really love this. The colors in this designer series paper and the images are just so pretty. They're all, it's flowers for the most part. There is two bundles that kind of coordinate with this. The stamp set and dies. One stamp set and dies is called Sentimental Park, and I'm going to use the sentiments from that one. And the flowers, and there's a punch, which is really cool. I love punch bundles, is called Petal Park. And I'm going to use that for the flowers on my cards. So it's going to be a little bit of a mixture, just the sentiment from Sentimental Park. What got me thinking about this, I haven't used it much, but we're planning an upcoming all-inclusive card buffet coming up in April. And this is the suite. We're going to give in the kits the Sentimental Park stamp set. So it kind of got me thinking about it, and actually some of the designer series paper and some of the embellishments. All right, let me switch over to my desktop and we'll get started. Oh, my dog started barking, so if you can hear my dog in the background. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to show you. I don't have I haven't even taken the punch out of the package yet. I don't have the dies that coordinate with the Sentimental Part, but they are very cool. There's a label die that's got the outline of the flowers around it, which is great. So this is a great sentiment stamp set. It's got, thanks, thinking of, and then you can coordinate, the larger sentiment and then the smaller ones, and then there's the you and love, and then some flowers, a stem, some leaves, just a really great kind of all-purpose. Oh, welcome from Salzburg, Cornelia. I went to Salzburg. It was so cool. What a beautiful city you live in. I loved it. We were only there for only about a day because I was delayed getting into Austria in November. So, but I loved your city. Glad you're joining me. Okay, so that's the Sentimental Park. And then Petal Park is just a whole bunch of flowers and leaves that you can stamp. It's two-step stamping, which is always one of my favorite techniques. Now, these are at 85. Actually, both of these, this is two-step stamping as well. Both of these are smaller, these images, than they actually are. This is 85% and this is 90%. And then the punch that goes with the Petal Park is this one. So that's what I'm going to use today. Now, let me show you what else have I got from the suite. There's a few things. Oh, this cane embossing folder is so pretty. Hey, Lynn from Australia. Got everybody joining today. All right, so this cane weave embossing folder has quickly become my new favorite. That happens a lot. This is the ribbon from the Regency Park. Beautiful Night of Navy ribbon. I love my trip to Austria, Cornelia. We spent most of our time in Vienna because that's where the Stampin' Up! Conference was, but we had such a good time. And then these are the adhesive back milky dots, and so I haven't taken them out of the package. There are 4 different colors that coordinate with the designer series paper. Okay, so let's get started. I have cut a piece of Night of Navy cardstock. So this is 4 1/4 by 11. And I've already scored it at 5.5. So I'm just using my bone folder. As always, when I score, I I fold into the mountain or into the raised line, and use your bone folder to get a good fold. Then I've cut a piece of balmy blue. I'm going to emboss this using the cane embossing folder, and it looks like I need to do some trimming on this. This is supposed to be 4 inches by 5 1/4. If you're in metric, it's 1/4 of a sheet, or it's a 0.5 centimeters less, and need both top and bottom, or top and sides of a 1/4 of a sheet. So this is my layer number 1, and I'm going to emboss this using this cane embossing folder. So we'll do that in just a minute. All right, and then I've got a piece of basic white. I'm going to use that for stamping. Actually, this one to stamp on. And then I've got a piece of the really pretty, this is just one of the pieces of the designer series paper, but it's got Night of Navy, Balmy Blue, Mango Melody, and then Garden Green. And I'm going to use that piece on the front of my card. This one is striped. It's just such a pretty, pretty set, or pretty sweet. Okay, so we'll take and emboss this first. So I bring in my Stamp and Cut and Emboss machine. So this is the big machine because it won't fit. Take these plates off. So this embossing folder is one of the 3D embossing folders. So you need platform, your main platform, and then plate number 4 to do your embossing with. And that's all I'm going to use my machine for, to lift with that hand. Still struggling a little bit. Actually, my arm doesn't hurt anymore. Well, only when I do certain movements. So for the most part, it doesn't hurt. But it's still, I'm still in a splint. Okay, so I've got this embossed. And then what I thought I would do, what am I doing here? What I thought I would do is adhere this piece to the left edge. I just kind of like the look of the embossing folder with the designer series paper. So I'm going to use liquid glue because when you've got an embossed image, the liquid glue kind of will get into all the nooks and crannies of your embossing folder, and just, I think it sticks better. And then this piece. Actually, I'm going to trim this. I got just a snitch, just a little tiny bit that is sticking up. Okay, so isn't that a pretty color combination? Okay. All right, so that's the card base. Now let's do some stamping. And so I'm going to, well, first of all, let's figure out, this is going to be a thank you card. I haven't even opened this yet. It's terrible. Okay, so I'm going to do the thank, some blocks out, thank, and then the U. Oops. And then I need, not from this one, but from the Petal Park. Oops, make a loud noise. Okay. So here's a tip for you. When you've got a photopolymer that is kind of floppy, if you know what I mean. So this kind of flops around, and sometimes when you try to put it on your block, you're not sure whether you're, moving it around and kind of getting it out of alignment. So I just take and put it down on my grid paper, and then I'm able to, it kind of automatically seems to want to just kind of lay there or go down on the grid paper in the shape that it actually is. This is the other one. This is the other part to the stamp. So again, and it's particularly important when you are doing two-step stamping that these line up. Okay, so there's those. I should have got my flowers and my stamps out in advance, but of course I didn't. Okay, so now I need 2 different ones for the flowers. So I'll just put those on there. And that one. I really like 2-step stamping. It's just really fun. Okay. Now I'm going to do some fussy cutting, and you may not be into fussy cutting. So if you're not into fussy cutting, you don't have to do that. You can just stamp these on a piece of basic white cardstock, and that will go onto your card base. So I'm stamping this in garden green, and then I'm going to stamp off lightly, and then I'm going to stamp. Those are the stems. And then I'm going to stamp. You could use 2 different colors, but I like to often just use the same color. Now this is going to stamp in, if I can get these lined up, let's maybe turn it this way. There we go. I'm sure this is supposed to do this. Oh, there we go. Oh, no. You know what? I'm wondering if I've got this twisted. This is what I said. Remember I said to you, if it doesn't go in the same shape. So let's just try this again. I just want to make sure. That's better. See, what happened was I didn't get that aligned properly. So you need to make sure that your stamps will align. That's much better. Okay, so I'm going to use full strength on this one. And with 2-step stamping, the goal is to get them kind of over top of one another. Sometimes they're not perfect, but I think this one is better. Okay, so there's the stamps. Now I am going to do some fussy cutting with this. And then I've got my flowers. Now I'm going to do my flowers in Balmy Blue. So I'm going to do the inside in Balmy Blue. So I'm going to do like that. I'm going to have to get another piece of basic white to stamp my sentiment on. So I'm stamping my flowers in Balmy Blue, the detail. And then the Night of Navy, I'm going to stamp the outline. Hopefully these line up better. Like that. Isn't that such a pretty color combination? Balmy Blue and Night of Navy. Pacific Point would go with this really well too. Okay, so there we go. That'll punch out. All right, now I need to find another piece of basic white. Hang on. So here's a piece of basic white that we will stamp using Night of Navy. So I'm going to do thank you or thanks. I guess I'm just going to do thanks. I thought it was thank, but this is thanks. So we will just stamp that in Night of Navy, and then I will fussy cut that out. Oops. Now, I think there must be there is. So there's some little flowers here. That's not what I want. I want the middle. I was thinking there was a middle to my flowers, but I guess there isn't. Okay, well, we'll use embellishments for the middle of the flowers. That's even better. Okay, so let's do some punching. Now I'm going to have to take and trim this because I really didn't think about it when I was doing my stamping. So I'm just going to take and cut around these pieces. I'll cut that out in just a minute. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is hopefully take this piece and kind of, I'm using We'll see how this goes with my hand. Okay, there we go. Let's get this in. So as you start to align it, I'm holding it with one hand and kind of moving the paper around with the other. What I start to do is gently squeeze. And I then get, now I don't want my leaf, so just gently squeeze it and it will start to hold it in place. Okay, so then the same with this one. I'm just kind of putting it in. If you end up with a piece of little tiny paper, use a Post-it note and attach on it as a little tag on the side so that you can hold it and adjust it. So I'm just kind of gently squeezing it to more or less hold it in place. There we go. There we go. There's my flowers cut out or punched out. Now, where is my card base? So I'm going to take, and I am just going to fussy cut around these leaves, and I might even cut them apart. We'll see how it goes, because I don't have enough room on here, but if I tip it kind of on its, you know, up and down, it might actually fit. So I'm just kind of roughly cutting. I'm going to go around and not worry about those polka dots. Now, if you're not a fussy cutter, just stamp this on a piece of basic white and use that on your card base. If you like fussy cutting or you want to try fussy cutting, as always, I tell you to steer with the hand that doesn't have the scissors in it. So you want to guide the paper and not be steering with your scissors. It just works much better, and you might actually maybe learn to enjoy fussy cutting. I actually don't mind it. I tend to, like I said, I tend to fussy cut my sentiments out a lot. It's probably a bit of laziness. Sometimes I just can't be bothered to go and grab a die or a punch to do it. So fussy cutting just seems to be an easy way. I will say that this Sentimental Park has the most amazing label dies with some flowers around it that it cuts out. It's really pretty. If you you might have had the Leaves of Holly bundle that had the holly leaves around a label punch, and this is similar. Okay, so let's. How am I going to do this? You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to just kind of cut around and do some even more cutting. I'm going to cut these out. There we go. So we can just cut them out how I want them to go. I've been known to actually cut my stamp sets. Oof, I cut my stamps in half or in bits until I get the sizes that I want. Okay, I seem to, oh, there it is there. So I'm just kind of arranging and kind of auditioning my flowers on my card. So let's take, I'm going to use liquid glue for the leaves. And I'll adhere these on flat. So like, kind of like that. Just get them positioned, at least so I kind of roughly know and hopefully remember where I wanted them. All right, so we'll go like that. Okay, and now I'm going to use, I can find some dimensionals, full-size dimensionals. Where are you? Got lots of the minis. There we go. No sheet. Okay. So we'll pop up these flowers. What's the weather like in Austria at the moment? Is it more wintry? It wasn't too bad when we were there. It kind of felt like what we get here on the west coast of Canada. We don't get a ton of winter, although we certainly had some winter earlier in December. Like that. That. So you could cut a bunch of these flowers out and in different colors. Like if I had thought about it, I could have stamped some in the Mango Melody, and then put them on. That would have been really pretty. All right, so I'm just going to take and I'm going to just fussy cut around these letters. I really like this font. Again, I'm just steering the paper and not the scissors. There we go. Now I'm going to have to use the mini dimensionals on this for sure, because it's parts of it are okay, but we'll just use, I have a hard time with these mini dimensionals, even when I don't have a splint on my hand. So I use my Take Your Pick tool, the piercing tool on the Take Your Pick tool to get these off of the sheet. Just works much better. And then I can also take it and use it to get the backing off. Let's put that on there. Now, I was thinking I was on the East Coast. Lots of rain. Oh, gosh, yeah. Okay, so I think I'm just going to tie, see if I can do this with my hand, tie a little bow with this ribbon. This ribbon is just so pretty. It's called bordered ribbon, so it definitely has the Night of Navy borders. I love the fact that it's Night of Navy. I use Night of Navy a lot, and we haven't had a Night of Navy ribbon. So I'm just going to tie a smallish bow. Oops. And then I'll trim. So when you've got your ribbon, if you don't do this already, try and tie your bow without cutting the ribbon off of the roll. You will find you save a lot of the ribbon, a lot more ribbon by doing that. Now, where shall we put this? Now that I've got this, I don't know where to put it. Maybe there. Okay. Just use a glue dot to attach that. Like that. And I can trim these ends a little bit so they don't, oops, didn't do such a straight line. There we go. There we go, just a little ribbon. Now let's use some of these beautiful, I love these adhesive back milky dots. Again, we haven't had Night of Navy. I think there was Night of Navy in the solid faceted gems, which I managed to use up very quickly. So there are 4 colors. So there's kind of a gold, and then there's definitely, this is kind of the Mango Melody. Don't know if it says the colors it comes in. Night of Navy, and then kind of a pinky color, but we're going to use the Mango Melody on these flowers. Just, I think it will just add that pop of color. Oops. Three. I tend to put even numbers or odd numbers of, but there I've got even number of flowers, so I guess we'll put one of these on each of the flowers. There. Oh my gosh, I really like this card. Now I have a piece of basic white that is 4 inches by 5 1/4 for the inside of the card. Hey Vicky, welcome. Lots of people from Australia today. Okay, so we're going to just stamp those 3 flowers on the inside of the card. And as always, I tend to, for some reason, let's see, which one is this? This is a balmy blue. So I want the balmy blue to be my solid color. So stamp the balmy blue. I tend to put them, the images on the inside of the card on the bottom right. I'm not sure why, but that's kind of what I do. And then this one will go on there. Oh, Just love this. Okay, there we go. Close these up. I think my glue is almost done. There we go. And these dimensional backings, I find them all over the place. I'm sure you do too. Okay, there we go. So that is the stamp sets I used were Sentimental Park for the sentiment, and then Petal Park for the flowers, stems, and then punched out with the punch that comes with that bundle. And then the paper is from the Regency Park Suite, as is the ribbon and the embellishments. I really like the card. I think it would have even had a more of a pop of color if I had just put a peekaboo edge of Mango Melody around it. I think maybe if I make another one, that's what I'll do. I think it would just add. So just I've taken a piece of Mango Melody cardstock, and in North America it would have been 4 1/8 by 5 3/8, and it would just have had a peekaboo of Mango Melody. But next time when I make another card like it. So, all right, everybody, thanks so much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed that. I love to see your comments. If you aren't part of my Facebook group, head over to Creating with Stamping with Melva. I think the link is underneath this video, and so you can head over there and request to join. Or if you're, some of you are coming in through my Facebook page or group, so that's great. And if you've come in through YouTube and you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, just make sure you hit that subscribe button and you'll get notified when I go live or when I post a video. All right, everybody, thanks for joining me. I will be live again tomorrow at 12 noon Pacific, so hope maybe I'll see some of you online then. Bye. Happy stamping.